Lee, do you believe reptilian people walk among us?
No.
It's all you love and know. It's Cannibal Video.
All right, guys, here we're going to talk about the movie Killers Within. 2018's Killers Within. Lee had just seen it before.
I vaguely recall watching the trailer for this.
Yes. So I'm going to say, I'm going to start this off with this part blurred here and say that even the box on this movie is a spoiler. So if you've not seen this movie, I recommend just go check it out. It is on Amazon at the moment we're recording this. Just watch it. Don't read anything. Check it out. Come back to us. Okay.
The only way to watch this, I think, is to go in blind, which I did.
Yes.
I still think the movie sucks.
Okay.
Hey.
So I enjoy this movie. I think it's fun. It has a decent twist because I went into it not knowing anything.
Yeah.
So that is, I think, why I even enjoy the movie in the first place. Without that part, not so good. The general premise of the movie is a former cop has his child kidnapped, and he must, with a ragtag group of friends, have another kidnapping to get the money to pay the ransom for his child.
Yeah, it's your good old
and
hostage.
shit goes awry.
Yeah, it's your hostage situation where the hostage takers are sympathetic and they bit off more than they can chew in the tradition of a bunch of other movies like that.
Yes.
I think it has an awesome premise that our blurred box is hinting at here, right? Very, very
I'll say
strongly.
it's unblurred now.
Oh, okay. So the box you can maybe, well, it's probably very small. The point is, there's a great premise. I liked like a few things, but I think it focuses on the wrong stuff and ends up being like bad. But we will get into that, I assume.
Yeah. Not much to talk about this because again, I don't want to go into the spoilers here. I will say, check it out if you've seen this or don't care. It falls over to spoilers. If not, pull out now.
If you need a place to rent content, you better listen. We're Cannibal Video and we eat the competition.
All right, guys, here we are for the spoilers of Killers Within. So Killers Within.
You liked this movie?
I did, and you didn't like it as much as I did.
Yeah, interesting.
I think it's a fun concept.
Yeah.
I think there's not enough reptilians in movies. I would have liked to have known more about the world they had established here. I think that almost is better than the movie itself.
Yes, I think that the premise is really, really strong, and that's like a lot of, like, I really wanted to like it. But I think that they kind of like blow their whatever too soon, and a lot of the movie focuses on action, which I don't think that they have the ability to pull off.
Well, the problem...
Like the budget or whatever, right?
I agree. Like, this is a lower budget movie, but the issue for me wouldn't necessarily be the pulling off. It would be like the not pulling off, in quotes, is that like they've established a character that's like so overpowered, but they're so busy just playing with their food that they die. And that makes sense up to the point that one dies, and if no one ever knows that another one of them is dead, maybe they would still act accordingly.
Yes.
But the moment you know any of them have died, it's like, all right, stop fucking around now, kid. You got to just murder these things. And they move fast as light. They're like the Flash.
They're so fast, and that effect looks so bad when they like appear.
Yeah.
But they're so fast that once Daddy's home, he should just be able to instantly, like, he should just blur through them, and they should just be like spurting blood.
It should be
dead.
mist.
Yeah, just like shattering them to to pieces. But hey, so
that was my least favorite part, though, was making them that fast. Like I liked them being fast. I liked them being like cunning and like stealthy. I liked them being super strong. I think that's all well and good. That's cool.
Yeah.
I would have liked to see more of the transformation and exactly how that takes place.
Yeah, is it chameleon skin, lizard skin, or is it something else?
Because you see the eyes change, but other than that, you don't ever really watch something happen.
True, and like he even mentions the hair, and they don't have hair when they're in like normal form.
Still though, mommy lizard, even without the hair.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind stuff not being fully explained, but like, to your point, if we don't know what's happening, like, can they shift back into themselves? Like, what happens?
The biggest issue this movie has, though, is that like it hinges on the twist. So the twist is what makes this movie good. So the twist is that they break into this house, and these things are reptilians. You are not the deadliest thing in this house. You are not the one to be feared. The ones you are robbing are the ones that hold your life in their hands.
I like that.
And that's really cool. I always like that when he who thinks he is the one to be scared is not. Like
the hunter becomes the hunted. Yes.
But this movie ruins that with the fucking cover. So like this cover is it shows the fucking, like, it shows the twist. And
No, that's hilarious.
That's a huge mistake. The back of the box shows the kid with like fangs. So like
Yeah.
watching this, and like even if you were to suspect the twist, you might be like, oh, maybe they're vampires.
Yeah.
Oh, they're this. Oh, they're that. Like you would not have been able to guess this twist, and that twist is so fun, and you ruin it by showing it on the cover.
No, that's how I came to it, was kind of blind like that. I was like not sure, oh, what's it going to be? Is it going to be vampires? Is it going to be whatever? I think that the twist gets somewhat undermined, though, because the one guy says, oh, I knew those fucking Illuminati people were correct. It's an Irish movie. Everyone talks Irish.
Yeah.
You're joking, right?
And the joke's on us. And our whole fucking species. I knew those Illuminati fucks were real.
Oh, this is fucked up.
And then they are the lizard Illuminati people, which I think
Yeah.
is dumb. That like like your first guess is like the
If I were
thing.
to script doctor this, it
Yeah.
would be so from the moment the young boy goes to the bathroom, he kills the brother, and like that's the thing. So what
It's okay, kid. I'm not going anywhere.
it should have been is like, play that out exactly the same.
Yep.
But they don't find the body; they just see the blood.
Yes.
And like as she does believe in the thing, there's somebody else in the house.
Yep,
And
I loved all that.
And they think someone else is in the house,
Yeah.
and they should go looking for someone else. And as they split up to look for someone else, more of them go missing.
Yes.
And you shouldn't have them notice until it's like the end of the movie.
Exactly.
Or like maybe they got attacked and doesn't know what attacked them, or like something has to happen. Not the way they immediately reveal this.
They should see one of them as a reptile in like darkness and not know
And not
what
know
happened.
it's one of the family members?
And then
Yeah.
come back. Yes, that's what I meant by they like blow their wad too early. Because
Yeah.
like as soon as you start to see it play out, like I'm sure you as well, you like predict that scene. The dad's gonna be in the car, he's gonna be saying something, you're gonna cut back to the house, someone's gonna be doing something here, then you cut to like the other family member, they're doing something here, and then it all comes to this like crescendo of like sickening realization that the hunter has become the hunted, right?
Exactly.
And that happens. There's like 40 something minutes left in the movie. And they do that because that's why the box has that, because they think that's the good part is like Irish McShamus like boxing a reptile or like grabbing
that was so bullshit.
rifles and doing all this stuff, and the movie doesn't do those things very well at all. It looks like a boring low budget action movie
Kind of.
and like so skip that. The tension was the really good part.
It really was, because like, and it's not like the whole first set before they get to the mansion. It's not like it's filmed amazingly. Like
No,
it seems
yeah.
like assistant director or something took those beginning scenes because they feel different.
Oh! Ah! No!
Can we talk about that stuff in
Sure.
detail? Because you wanted to mention the just broad daylight open air kidnapping.
Yes,
That's the opening of the
these
movie.
Russians just in like ski masks in a park, just
In a
kidnap
giant
these
open
people. Yeah.
field, just slowly walking across the field.
Kevin!
Yes.
It's such a goofy thing, and you're like, wait a minute, what's happening here? And then like, you realize that she was an ex-cop as well. The husband's a cop. So like all their fighting scenes,
So-
you're like, okay, at least they know
Oh, yes,
how to
yes.
fight at all.
But so-
Unlike your average movie, which was to have a housewife just all of a sudden be, oh, I took a boxing class at the Y.
Yeah.
You're like,
I did a self-defense course. So like this giant Triple H Russian person has her in a headlock, or like the son in like a headlock, and says, "Talk to your ex. We want our money," or some shit like that.
If you ever want to see the sun again, I suggest you talk to your prick ex, not your pig friends. Understand?
If you leave...
Then she goes to like the ex's house, and now we're in like the exposition zone. She's like, well, we're both cops, and he's this, and don't you do that, and I do, and she's like explaining who everyone is and what's happening. And I almost texted you like, are we watching the wrong movie? Is this like a shitty heist movie with the same name as like a horror movie?
He was a cop. It's his job to put them away. You're a cop too. You should understand that.
He was a cop. Didn't he tell you why he isn't anymore?
Like, what is happening? This is not the right movie. This is wrong.
but
This
that's
is
what's
not
so
okay.
good about it. If you just
Yes.
flipped on this on the TV and
Absolutely.
all of a sudden that twist happened, I love that.
'Cause
because
Killers
it's,
Within could be
it's something
anything, right? Yes.
There's no telegraphing of what it is because
Yeah.
it's one movie that turns into a whole other movie. And I think that's great. I love when that happens. And if you didn't fuck around and ruin it on
Yeah.
the goddamn cover, so I lucked out and I watched this. I just literally, it was like a next play on Amazon or something. And
Okay.
I just hit play.
You saw it before you ever saw the box.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, same. Yeah.
Yeah, and then when I saw the box, I was like, "What are you idiots?
No, it's
You're
crazy.
shooting yourself in the foot here." But I understand what they're doing too, because aside from that box, you probably have nothing to suck somebody in. It's not like it's this brilliant new idea. That is the twist. That's what brings the audience.
And this is like a dilemma that you have as a smaller budget person who makes a cool movie with a cool twist. Is like, well, how are you going to get the right people to watch it? Because boring action movie dads that want to watch a boring action movie set in like Ireland are going to be like, what's this lizard people nonsense?
Yeah.
And then lizard people movie people are going to be like, why would you ever watch a weird heist movie, right?
Exactly.
So you have to do this, which sucks. It's bad times.
No, it certainly isn't. I feel for him, but I hate it because you had
miscarriage
something
of
there
justice.
that was so nice.
Yes.
But like the movie has a cool set. That castle thing they live in is really awesome. I love the little like set pieces. Like in the background, there's like a picture of him as like a French duke or some shit. And you're like, oh, cool. He's been around since like Napoleonic times.
There's a lot of dope Easter eggs like that.
They mention like, oh, this isn't really what history happened. Oh, we have to go with what they think happened.
Let's talk about this because there's like 4 things that happen where like it's like class conscious and like weirdly like it could just apply to rich people and normal people, but then I'll never watch it a second time, but on a second watch, you could be like, oh, that also applies to if they're lizard people. The like daughter says, oh, so you have to ruin my night because the peasants aren't satisfied with their dole?
What? I have to miss one of the biggest nights of my life because a bunch of peasants aren't happy with their dole.
And you're like, oh shit, like you like mask off, I'm like a horrible rich person. Or are you? Maybe you're just an evil lizard monster, right?
Yes.
I love it because it applies to both things.
I love that, like, so this is like the day of her, like, I don't know what they called it, her coronation or something.
Le Ponfar.
Where she is, like, ovulating. And
they're only fertile for like a very narrow point in time, and she's supposed to meet her betrothed.
Which almost doesn't make sense.
Prince. No, nothing makes
sense.
Because
he has 2 kids of wildly different ages. So maybe it's just like, every 7 years or something. They're
like a
ready to go.
Ponfar.
Something.
No, it's weird, and he says something. So like, I like this in a way because rich, like super rich people tend to have fewer kids, so it has a nice little like, oh, lizard people have fewer kids because they're egg sacs or some dumb thing like that. But yes, it also is weird because it doesn't make any sense because like, so she's gonna get hooked up with some other person, but they can mate with people.
Yes.
And like, does it have to be the woman? Because like can a female woman carry a like lizard baby? Because because shouldn't they just have like a huge farm of like breeder women that like their like best guy just knocks them all up? Like, what's going on?
Well, they say in this like, we have to invite humans in to extend the gene pool. There's so little of us now.
Yeah.
Oh, our 2 species can breed. In fact, there are so few of us that we find it necessary to do so from time to time, just to broaden out the gene pool.
And I would love to know how many of you are there.
Yeah.
The idea that like spoilers at the end, the kid gets away, and I'm like okay, if any one of them got away, the network is going to come down on you potentially because they control the fucking world as it was stated.
No, he's going to go talk to his uncle, his like lizard man uncle, who's going to like murder you. Luckily, they have whatever $4 or $5 million to subsist on.
Sure.
But still,
but
I'd be very
that's
scared.
not going to get you out of the eye of like fucking the Illuminati or whatever.
No, and like structurally, right? So like the bookends are the Russian kidnapping, which doesn't matter at all and doesn't have to be there. It's so dumb. It's like just to make them sympathetic.
Well, it's that these good characters are committing a crime where like it would not have felt the same if criminals went to commit the crime.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's only there to make them sympathetic, but it ends on that with them blowing up the like Russian kidnappers and stuff, as if like that's the lesson that we learned. The dad says, "Oh, you think we're the monsters," and then they do a monstrous thing to get their kid back because the dad was just trying to protect his kids and his bloodline and all. The movie's about something, and I'm like, no, it's not. The movie's about that. You want to see lizard people, don't you? You hogs. That's what it.
I do love the end where it's like, well, their friend has the point of like, no, give them $1 million because then they're going to leave you alone because these people are going to keep coming back for more. Pay them off now, get out. And they let's just murder them.
That's an awesome speech, by the way, where he's like, oh, you're going to steal 600,000. Why don't you just steal 6 million? Like, it's just an extra duffel bag or 2.
It's the same amount of jail time, right?
You're already in there. You're already stealing stuff. So I'm like, oh, that's cool. Because movies don't always, sometimes the movie's like, okay, we're going to go do the thing, but we have to make sure that we only get exactly
what he owes us.
Whatever, yeah.
We're going to steal €600,000.
We're gonna steal 6 million.
6 million? Are you out of your fucking mind?
And you're like, as a criminal, I feel like you'd be like, as long as you're breaking the seal, it's just empty.
Kinda.
Or whatever.
I guess the more like your average robbery, the more you have to carry, the slower you're gonna get away, and this, that, and other thing. This they happen to have the guy just giving them the money because he owns the bank or whatever.
Yeah.
I wonder how that works with insurance too. Can you just walk in, take money out, and go, I was robbed? Like,
well, if you want to commit fraud, Stefan, and rich people do not commit crimes.
Well, of course not. How would they?
No, like, okay, we should mention too, this is like a merciful part of the movie, because I was worried, like, oh my, like, you know, one of the robbers goes with the rich guy to like get the money.
Yeah.
I was worried that was gonna be a whole thing. And
Like a
he was like,
long bit.
oh, my ID badge doesn't work. Hey, guard, don't say anything suspicious. Oh, whatever. And then, uh-oh, tension, things. But no, we just cut back to them,
Yeah,
and they're in the
already
car
done.
on the way back.
It was just like he said. Just a case of a couple of extra duffel bags. Relax. Everything is going to plan.
They got the money. Oh, great, perfect. I'm like, oh, I'm so happy. Thank you, movie. Yeah.
I love the business at the pub. So like,
Yeah.
like the the rich guy crashes the car and they have to and hightails it to this pub. That guy hides the money outside. I'm like, okay, already you're doing the Lord's work.
He's a
Good
smart
job,
guy.
good job.
Cookie.
Takes off his vest because he has to look more conspicuous.
Yep.
Or inconspicuous.
I know.
Goes in and they're like, oh, he's waiting for you. He's over there. And like, oh shit. Oh, okay. They all know. All
I
right.
know. And then
He's waiting for you by the fire. But he's not a bit like you.
you're like, is this a village of lizard people? Are they in on it? What's going on? You find out later, no, this is just the village they terrorized since they lived in the castle when it was a castle, I guess. And it's been generations of them kind of feeding on them and messing with them and using them, right?
It's so weird to do that to a small town, though, because it's only so many people.
Well, yeah, but that's...
You think you'd want to import.
That's how you get away with it. I'm sure they do.
Oh, they're so rich.
Yeah.
You think they could just be like, okay, you come. We need nannies from foreign country. Come here.
Go to Jeffrey Epstein's island and do
Yeah.
some things like that. No, I'm sure that stuff's going on too. But it's nice to have a little local, supply.
Yeah.
A little Ponderosa down the hill where you.
I wonder
can
how
keep stuff.
much they have to eat. In the cooking area, it looked like it was only organs. It didn't look like there was no hand in there. There was no leg. They weren't eating
Okay.
just meat. It looked like they were actually just eating organs.
And that stuff's like hanging up, maybe to like drain the blood or
Maybe.
something. There's something going on. Yeah, because that's the other part too, where it's like they have this giant table and the four of them and just one little casserole
Yeah.
dish. That's when I was like, okay, maybe it's cannibals, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. And then when it breaks later, I guess that that's a brain or supposed to be just an organ meat. Whatever.
I didn't know what per
Yeah.
se they were, but I knew they were. I knew they were instantly recognizable as humans. Something early because
Yeah.
our boy that dressed as a
It's
fox.
meant to
is
be.
like, "Whoa."
It's meant to be terrifying. Yeah.
He got it, I think, the worst. The youngest
Oh,
boy
man,
here, the
he's
brother.
having a tough time, yeah.
Well, because not only does he gets seduced by a lizard lady who finds out she's a lizard in the middle.
By the way, hot, but then it goes downhill.
Well, I think that second part's definitely
I'm
downhill
joking,
when he's like okay, that's right, this is horrible. That's a lizard person.
Yes.
Oh God, and you're like,
well, and to have him squirming around being like, please stop, and her being like, no.
Stop! The fuck?
Oops. Lost myself in the moment.
yeah.
Oh shit.
Well,
yeah,
I was
that's good.
thinking, I'm like, well, there's two things here to consider. One, I imagine it'd be either you'd be like, I can't perform at all because what the fuck is that? Or it's like, it'll never stop. I hate what I'm looking at.
Uh-huh.
I'll fucking kill you!
Is that any way to speak to the mother of your child?
Yeah, that's great.
Oh God! And then he cuts his own arm off.
Yes.
To save the day, to then die, to getting his neck snapped.
Yeah, that is when the movie's a little ridiculous to me, when he's cutting off his own arm and stuff like that.
When he was trying to saw the chain, I was like, what are you doing? You know what swords are?
A little bit of that's to satisfy people like you who
I don't
would
know why
say-
he didn't strike the chain.
I was gonna say, part of that's to imply, what, the first thing you do is slob your own arm off? And you can be like, no,
Sure.
he was trying. It just was clear it's not gonna work, and then he gave up.
Yeah, I would have tried some prying,
Yeah.
some slamming.
Absolutely.
I'm
Just
like,
take
hit it
the
until it heats
pommel.
up enough.
Yeah, take the pommel and hit the weakest
Yeah.
weakest link of the chain. That's how you get out.
Come on.
No, I can't.
I love the dude that goes to the attic to get the weapons, and he has C4 and bullshit and all these guns. He has many flak jackets. He's ready.
I'm an enthusiast.
Jesus. What do we need all that for?
Let's just say I'm an enthusiast with a touch of OCD.
Mom, just looking at comics or something. He screams down.
I'm just looking at me comics, Mom. Put the kettle on.
Yeah. Put the kettle on.
Yeah.
What are you doing up there?
This is Jack we're talking about here.
I'm just looking at me old comics, Ma. Put the kettle on, will you?
Exactly.
I love that. I love people with tea. Tea's fucking funny.
Tea's hilarious. No, because it begins like a heist movie.
Yeah.
You have like voiceover while the guy's like taking a picture of his schedule, even though they totally don't need his schedule. I think they're going at night. Whatever.
I thought that was his
It's fine.
address. But
Oh, to get his address off the
I don't
schedule?
know.
Okay, maybe. Yeah. Because he has his calendar up and someone said schedule, whatever. Whatever.
yeah.
Fine. Yes. But yeah, like the voiceover while like, oh, he's gonna get the guns and he's gonna do this and he's our wheelman and everyone's got their
Yeah.
like role and everything. I'm like, oh, that's cute. That's good times.
Yeah, the brother
Yeah.
was, I guess, a decent enough wheelman. They don't really get a good demonstration of that. Just
doesn't
the
get to
budget
show
to
it
do
off.
so.
And then you do what you do best and you get us the fuck out of here fast.
That I can do.
No, absolutely.
I love foreign cop cars. Like, because foreign cop cars, I shouldn't say all foreign, but most cop cars in other areas are like, it's like, oh, this practical, like, sedan type wagony cars, whatever. And then aside from like, you know, like oil-rich areas where it's like, oh, I got a Bugatti and shit. Like here, we're all like Chargers and fucking huge like Yukon Denali's and shit. You're like, oh yes, big difference between countries.
Like a V10 with a plate on the front
Yeah.
to kill pedestrians or something. Yes.
We got our cow catcher on the front.
Yes. Yes, we've talked about how like this might have been better, like the tension that they're weaving of the whole thing, like you said before. If like the characters hadn't have known what was happening, if it didn't reveal it, if it didn't have the dumb conversation about it, I think it should have ended with like 10 or 7 minutes left where it becomes clear what's happened. Maybe you draw out more of the trip and people getting separated and more like double meanings and misunderstandings. Then you could have concentrated all the money for all the action into that ending and made it like better. There's a bar fight, like there's several fights where it's like TV quality action where
Yeah, that's fair.
But like you're like, okay, we're just gonna cut away so I can imagine a better. Nope, we're still gonna do this. It just keeps showing the action, but the action is the caliber where you're supposed to just show 2 punches, show like one like dialogue line, and then cut away and then come back later and like resume it or whatever.
Yeah.
But they don't have the decency to do that. I think they think lizard face and action. That's what this movie is, and it's like very sad to me. I feel like they missed the mark on that.
Get away from him!
Yes, definitely. I think that ending fight scene with the dad, like where like the dad's already injured and like can't do fast walk and stuff.
Yeah,
I think
his
if
leg.
more things were kind of in that vein, where it's like they're just tough motherfuckers, like 2 guys fighting this one guy are losing, and he was been shot multiple times. Just show them as these really tough guys. The idea
more
like
on
it's
the
like, oh, they
par,
die, we shoot him in the head. I'm like, everything dies if you shoot in the head. That's not really special here.
Cutting their heads off.
I would have liked to seen some like reptilian healing, like cut one of their arms off and like it slowly comes back, like
There you
something like
go.
that might have been a better use of your CG budget than fast
Like
run.
make it thematic with them as lizards, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to just
or like it dives in the river and like it stays underwater for a while or
can breathe
something,
underwater,
or someone gets like constricted to death, like something.
Yeah, or they could have venom or something like that.
Yeah,
who
they,
knows?
honestly, they certainly could. They could have spit. They could have done anything.
Could have done a lot of interesting stuff. Yeah, I feel like they thought like, oh, this is enough, right? But I like your idea of like, that ending fight being more emblematic where, yeah, people should be handicapped by different things, right? Maybe involve the kid and have the mom like hesitating because she doesn't want the kid to get hurt, like some goofy stuff. It could be like, this is really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I think the movie's very enjoyable. I think it's fun. I don't like care about any of the characters, but like I didn't dislike really any of the characters either. Like,
well, because to us it's like starring no one. Right? I don't know if these people are famous.
They may be famous, but we're not
in
famous
Ireland.
to me. Yeah.
The director I think has done like 5 things, and it's like 4 shorts in this. This is like their first thing, and I think it shows.
If this is your first movie though, this shows for me a triumph and a promise, and I would love to see the future things they do. I would love to see more in this world though. I wouldn't mind a sequel. It doesn't necessarily have to have the same characters per se.
On the run now.
Well, it wouldn't be the worst.
With satellites.
But in general, I just like that. I like hearing about these things in this town. It's run by these whatevers and this and that. It's cool. I like reptilians. I maybe see them in the past might be cool to see how they like controlled the world and run these things, do this stuff. They've been around forever. They're older than Christ. They had these amazing cities, and then the fucking earthquake, the meteor wiped it all out.
Implying that the actual like destruction of the dinosaurs was their destruction or whatever? Is that what he meant by that?
Well, destroyed them, yeah.
Yeah, and then you people fell from the trees.
Yeah.
There's so much dialogue. That's really too much, I think, too.
After a rather well-known extinction level event, when we were at our weakest, your kind fell from the trees and multiplied like a virus.
When like the dad
It's meaty
explains
with the dialogue,
yeah.
for sure. But I like his thing of like, no, I'm going to let you live as a warning.
Oh,
Everyone
yeah,
else you know and love, they'll be dead. But you can go spend your
like
trinkets,
you.
get your son, whatever.
Exactly.
You alone will survive tonight, and all your friends will perish. You can keep the money you took, pay off your drug dealers.
Yeah. No, I think he basically makes his point, and then he kind of like does it all again. I think at some other part of the movie, like a little later on, when he's like over-explaining. I would have liked a little more subtlety and more of that, not sure what's happening, like, part of the movie. I thought a lot of that was really strong, and it was like well filmed in the house and looked good and all that stuff. So I'm like, yeah, want more of that.
A lot of it's sold by like the effects are pretty good, like the actual practical effects on the reptilians, like how they look. I think that looks awesome.
Nisawad, I'm a pre-Zalma.
I thought the eyes looked really bad, though.
Well, the eyes, I think, are the only thing that are like CG or something, because those are like weird.
Yeah, like the
but
CG
the
in
actual
general might
mask,
just be bad, right? 'Cause,
like the
smear
costuming
effect.
is really cool looking.
Yeah.
And that set really sells it, because it's like, oh, this is a cool location. What do you got here?
Yeah, because they go to like the cellar and it has like dungeon chains and torches on the wall, and it looks very old. And it's like, oh, and she's chanting in her like reptile language or something like that. Yeah.
I think it's weird that they also like seemingly pray to Satan or something, because you're this old, you predate mammals, yet your god is like a bull-looking thing, which is a mammal.
My people have been around since the dawn of time. We existed before man. We are the true master race.
Exactly, because that's them, like that's the real Illuminati lizard people bleeding in to this, right? This should be its own thing that's like, legally distinct and not the same as the Illuminati, lizard people.
And it could have been anything. It could have been pentagrams and bullshit and and anything.
Yeah, well, because then the pentagram could have been a thing that like humans adopted from them. Not the other way around. We're like, yes, why is there a Minotaur, goat monster man, like Satan man or whatever, right? Yeah, no, that's dumb. No,
and there could be Minotaur, Satan men in this world. Who's to say?
Sure.
But with me just knowing what I know and not having anything more explained to me, that just seems kind of like a mistake based on what you're setting as your timeline.
That's what I mean. Like, I think there should have even been a line to mock, like, oh yeah, we circulate some of those rumors, but there's actually a lot more to it. It's much deeper than all that crap. Because one guy's like, I knew it's the fucking Illuminati, and it's like, oh please, you don't know anything about
There's
us.
a moment with a photo, and then behind the photo is a Polaroid that's seemingly them in their reptilian form. They don't show it.
I take that back.
I know.
And I was like, what the fuck was the point of any of that? Like, just to tease me?
Well, to shoehorn in, oh, even without the hair, she's a babe or whatever, the stupid lines. Some of that I think breaks it for me on like the one front, and then I just didn't like the execution, but it kind of breaks it for me that like he thinks that they are the Illuminati lizard men, and they really are. I think that's dumb.
Yeah,
and so
on the nose.
So like they should have been what people understand to be the Illuminati lizard men.
With no verb,
Well, but like kind of like how in some vampire fiction they say, oh no, mirrors don't do that. We just circulated that rumor as like anti whatever.
Yeah, that way no one can think we're vampires. So be a reflection.
So I could say, look, I'm not a vampire, and be right, like
eating my garlic.
Yeah, it should be something like that where it's like, oh no, you know whatever we decide that you're allowed to know. It's actually much deeper, and we control all the banks and this and that and that and this, right? But it was too much like funneled in. It seems underdeveloped in certain ways, which makes sense if it's his first movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
More power to him. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments below what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time.
If you want to support the show, head over to cannibalvideo.com, pick up some merch.
And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button.
That's all right.
Yeah, that's something.
Whatever.
Fuck these motherfuckers.
Oh, great. The fucking lizard people.
Cannibal Video has everything you need. A wide array of VHS and DVDs. We ate the competition, now it's only us. Our expert staff opinions, you can really